Hey you guys, it's Jessica Kalil and welcome back to my channel. Today we are filming something super different, something I've never done before, but we're bringing in an awesome guest to talk about our babies' heads, which is kind of funny and interesting because we don't always talk about that, but it's important to kind of bring that awareness. I know my channel is focused on makeup and makeup artistry, but as you know, I am a first-time mom and I have my first-time mom bestie with me with her little sweetie pie, and we want to talk about this and bring awareness. So this is my friend Paige and her little baby Everett. She is almost 4 months old and we're so happy to have you. And then we also have our super special guest Jennifer Barnard. She is an occupational therapist and the owner of Baby Begin. So would you like to tell us a little bit of what you do?
Yeah. So I own Baby Begin, and we have been in business 11 years, and our primary focus is to eradicate plagiocephaly. So those of you who don't know what plagiocephaly is it's really just flat head syndrome. So babies are getting flat heads because we're sleeping them on their backs. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate new moms early enough so they know how to identify it and then know how to deal with it early so we can treat it conservatively rather than jumping right into helmets. So that's our business. We do in-home therapy and we just educate new moms and dads about plagiocephaly and everything about it. So we really appreciate you bringing us here.
Well, it's so awesome that you came, Jennifer, so that we can spread awareness to everyone out there. If you are a first-time mom or a mom of 5 or thinking about becoming a mom in the future, yeah, it's just really good for her to come in and talk about what this is, what's affecting our babies' heads, and then also tips on how to prevent it. So I first heard about Baby Begin through my friend Paige because she was concerned about her little baby Everett's head shape, and kind of tell us what happened with that. How did you even find Baby Begin?
Our pediatrician had noticed it, I think around her 2-month appointment. It might have been 1 or 2 months. I'm not sure. All the days run together right now. But she noticed that she was actually having a little bit of a flatness on her right side. Our pediatrician recommended Baby Begin, and so we called them the next day. They were out the next day. Ellen came over and she showed us some stretches and some ways to keep her on her left side so that her right side could fill in a little bit more. I wish I would have known sooner.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I had noticed the favoring, but I didn't know what I now know is Torticollis.
Right.
And how to help Everett with that.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm so glad, Paige, that you posted it on our Instagram because I wouldn't even have known that this was a service that we could even get or someone could come into your house to do this. So she posted her and Ellen working on stretches and different things, and I'm like, gosh, if I can just learn what those little tips are, maybe that can help prevent Rio. I know Rio had a little bit on her right side, and it's a good thing we caught her really early. I think it was at 6 weeks that I reached out because that's when you found him and posted it on your Instagram story. So
Babies don't necessarily have a turn preference. So when they're first born, what happens is the skull is very soft, it's very malleable. Right. So when they are born and then we're in turn sleeping our babies on their backs, which they need to sleep on their back, that's the American Academy of Pediatrics, so all babies should sleep on their back. But you really need to look for, is the baby turning one way more than another? And that's your first sign that there could be an issue. So I always tell new moms and new dads, watch how your baby's sleeping. When you're holding them in their arm, are they always looking in one direction? When you lay them on the floor, are they always looking in the same direction? When you change their diaper, are they always looking in the same direction? And that will give you a clue as to, okay, I see, and it's usually to the right. I see she's turning to the right. Both of you have right turners.
Yeah.
So you're kind of watching for that, and because the skull is so malleable, that head will flatten really quickly. So you have to be looking at the baby from the top, looking at the head shape and just looking at the symmetry. And you can usually see it within the first 4 weeks. How early did you see it, do you think?
The favoring?
Yeah.
Probably month 1.
Yeah. So she was real observant. Some parents do not notice that so early, but by 2 months the head can be pretty flat, so it's important to get on it as quickly as possible. But that would be my first recommendation, is look for that turn preference right when you get home from the hospital. That's what we're trying to bring awareness to. It happens to everybody. It happens to about 46% of new babies. So we're talking almost every other baby is going to have a
Yeah.
flat head. So,
Yeah, to some degree.
And I think it's really cool to know now. I joke with Jeff about, oh, she's our little test baby, because now for the next the next babies, I'll know what to do.
Right.
For sure.
But it's what you guys do is really cool. It's not something that you always have to have a physical therapist come or occupational therapist come and work with each kid, and it's going to be different. But what Baby Begins can do is like really teach you what to do at home and how to prevent.
and
Yeah.
give you the skills for
Right.
the future.
Right.
So then it'll
Yeah.
carry over to your next babies.
Yeah,
That's
so I
really
think that's really cool.
The skull malleability gets harder as the babies get older. So you are at risk for skull flattening up until about 3 or 4 months of age. After that, if the skull looks good at that age, you're set. So you don't have to worry about it after that.
Okay.
So you really have this very small window of opportunity, and I think that brings up another good point, is the earlier you deal with issues, the better. So if you do see a skull flattening or a turn preference or something, it's really important to talk to your pediatrician now,
Yeah.
rather than waiting until your next appointment, which could be in 2 months.
All right, Jennifer, so what are some other risk factors for these babies?
Okay, so another one is container usage. So when we talk about containers in the therapy world, we're talking about anything that contains a baby. So swings, bouncy seats, car seats, DockATots, and rock and plays, but hopefully no one's using a rock and
No.
play anymore.
I'm guilty on the DockATot.
Yes. So containers are exactly what they say they are. They contain a baby. And even the really young babies, you want them to have freedom of movement. So you want them to be able to move around, both for development, but also for the head shape. You don't want a constant force on the head because it's so malleable. So it's really important, to, even when your baby's very young, to keep them out of containers as much as possible.
Right.
So our recommendation is 2 hours or less a day combined. So if you're going to go for a walk in the car seat, you want to make sure that they're on the floor playing and not in a swing or a bouncy seat.
Right. And that's something, once she taught me that, and she said, it's okay for Rio, lay a soft blanket on the floor and lay her down if you need to wash the dishes or if you need to do something. And I was like, on the floor? You want me to put my baby on the floor? And she said, yeah, that's okay. And even when so I started doing it. As soon as she told me it was okay to do it, I started doing it, and I could just see Rio having like a blast and, reaching out her legs and her arms, and she kind of had all this freedom, as opposed to when I had just have her in the DockATot or in the boppy seat or, just something that's, or in the Mamaru swing, So in all those places, to us adults, I think we see that, we're like, wow, that looks really comfy and cozy. I wish I was a baby again. But really, the big picture is that they need as much freedom as they're growing and as their head is taking shape. So I don't, even when my mom came over, she's like, why do you have Rio on the floor? I go, no, she needs it. It's part of her therapy, and it's easy. You don't even have to buy anything for that. Just, a nice cozy blanket and just let them kind of enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I don't think we've used, ever since we were diagnosed, I guess, or, we were made aware of the floor is a great thing.
Yeah,
She's
totally.
always on the floor.
And is she happy?
Yeah, she loves
Is
it.
Rio happy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Babies like to be on the
Loves
floor.
it.
They really do. And I think I hear every day, I think she's going to be bored. I don't think he'll like it. This is a whole new, huge, exciting world for babies. Like, they don't need to be entertained. They've got this everything to look at, the windows and the light and everything around them. So they don't need to be in something to be happy.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's really important.
Are there any other tips you have for like a new mom kind of just looking at their baby and to be more aware?
Yeah, I think another, we talk about it all the time, is tummy time. Really incorporating tummy time into the baby's day, every day, 5 or 6 times a day if you can. So how often did you do tummy time? Like the first month?
First, no, maybe twice a day.
Twice a
maybe.
day.
And I was counting her laying on my, almost like a little bit upright with her head, burping her really as like one of her tummy times. And I quickly found out that doesn't count.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
And how often were you doing?
Probably once a day,
Once a
because
day.
we thought you could count this, skin to skin and all
Right,
that too.
right.
But she hated it, and who wants to hear their baby cry?
Right.
So looking back, I probably would do it shorter amount of periods,
Yes.
more frequent.
Right.
Throughout the
Yes.
day. Like now we have a pretty good schedule. She wakes up, we kind of do stations. You know, she's tummy time and she's on her back and playing, and then we're,
Yes.
you know, sitting up in her couch and her pillow and stuff like that. So she had favored one side, and it was because her right side was tighter. So she didn't feel so comfortable looking left. And we learned that was called torticollis. And if you want to define torticollis, because we didn't know what that was.
Yeah. So torticollis is really just one side of the neck is tighter than the other, and it's usually this big muscle here that goes all the way from the ear all the way to the sternum and the clavicle. So that muscle is in charge of tilting the head in one direction and turning it in the other direction. So you see this muscle here. It's not a big thing, but it can cause quite a bit of problem because it only allows the baby to turn in one direction. And when the baby is turning only in one direction, that side of the head is going to get flatter.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the correlation between torticollis, which is the tight neck, and plagiocephaly, which is the asymmetric head shape. So if your baby is only looking in one direction, they probably have just a muscle imbalance. So the easiest thing to do is just to contact a physical or an occupational therapist, let them show you some stretches that are appropriate to your baby. And we kind of talked about that, like don't call your friend and say, hey, can you show me the stretches that your therapist showed you? Because a lot of times it's the opposite side, so you could be doing more harm than good. Sometimes it's tilt and turn the same direction. So you really need to get a professional to help you with that. It doesn't have to be a long-term deal, but it does need to be specific to your baby.
Right.
So don't look it up on the internet. Just make sure you get someone to help you with that. And then that will then help correct the head shape and help them develop normally. Because torticollis can affect symmetrical development because one side of the body is tighter. And again, early intervention, get it taken care of quickly. Tell your friends about it. Make sure they all know. So we're all kind of getting the information earlier than I think people are getting it now.
Okay, so right now we're gonna have Jennifer kind of show Everett. She's our beautiful little
Sneaky,
4-month-old model here. And she's gonna kind of show you how to look at your baby's head and kind of evaluate it and just kind of go from there.
Okay, so Everett's going to be our model. So a lot of people don't know how to look at a baby's head. So we're talking about flat heads, asymmetry. Like what does that mean truly when you're looking at a baby's head? So what I always recommend with new parents is you take 500 pictures of your baby a day, right?
Yeah.
So you might as well take a few of their head shape. When the baby's 2 weeks old, I would take a picture of the baby from the top. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you do is you want to lay the baby down and you want to look at them from the top. So this right here is going to show you her symmetry. Very good. Very good. So you're going to take a picture. We call this a bird's eye view. So you get the nose facing straight up and you're looking at the symmetry in the back. Okay. So you're seeing, is this quadrant the same shape or the same volume as this quadrant? You can look at the ears. Her ears are nice and straight. So you have one ear here and one ear here. Then you can also look at the forehead symmetry. Is the forehead symmetrical in the front? If it's not, you're going to see one side is fuller than the other. That's what you're going to see. So that's the best way. So at 2 weeks, take a picture. Maybe 2 weeks later, take another picture. And then that's going to allow you to really track your baby's head shape. And as soon as you see asymmetry, you can get treatment and get on it before they need a helmet or other options, okay?
Do you focus just mainly here, we are in Dallas, so the DFW area, or do you also work with moms all over the country?
We do. We have the ability to do Skype appointments. So what we do is a parent contacts us from, really we've had people all over the world, which has been so fun.
That's very cool.
So they'll contact us and we'll show the family positioning. So if your baby does have a flat head, if they're under 5 months of age, we can show you how to position the baby and the little stretches to do on the neck and reshape the head. So we can actually show you how to reshape and correct any skull flattening that the baby has, and we can do that through a call. But if you're in the Dallas or Houston area, we have a lot of therapists on staff that can come and see you and your baby and show you everything that you need to do.
Yeah. And we'll be sure to, list the phone number, website, Instagram, all the social media for Baby Begin here in the video, but also down below in the description box. I also want to just do a quick little shout out. If y'all have extra or any questions that are coming up as we're talking, you can go ahead and put those down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to forward them over to Jennifer and her team, and maybe they can reach back out to you and give you those answers, or you can even, you know, seek their services and help your little baby out. So I'll be sure to add that information down below. All right, so in between filming, you guys, we heard a story from Jennifer, and she said that she had heard, well, you go ahead and say it.
So I was working with a mom, and she was like, I told one of my friends that I was working with Baby Begin, and she said, I found out that 6 of my friends had gotten services from you guys, and we didn't even know it. So the other moms had not shared anything with their babies.
Sweet girl. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the theme with this, is that we want to make sure that, you know, we're not shaming other moms. I don't feel ashamed as a mom or guilty as a mom seeking help. So I think the more this information kind of gets out there and we kind of just talk about it over brunch, tea, whatever, coffee, it'll just become, you know, the stigma of it being like a negative thing or something that a mom did that was wrong or bad will kind of go away. And we can just talk about it just like how you would talk about, oh, how often is your baby napping, or how much does she drink? How's your baby's head shape?
Yeah.
You know, we'll just kind of throw it in because, you know, as moms, we do often share a lot, but sometimes head shape and being worried about the head shape is kind of one that, for some reason, we don't know why, but sometimes moms are a little bit ashamed or feel guilty or just don't want to talk about it. So definitely tell your friends.
Just don't ever be embarrassed to help your baby or do what's right for your baby. We're busy and we have to put, you know, we didn't know that putting them in a container for a prolonged time, especially because they all look so comfortable, like Jess said, is putting pressure on their head in a certain way. But just don't feel like you've done anything wrong, and talk about it. Because if I hadn't talked about it on Instagram or social media, Jess wouldn't have known.
I wouldn't have known it was even an option.
Yeah, and it's fun. She gets to see her, you know, physical therapist, and we get to see Jennifer, and it's never a negative, and everyone's always so happy about it. It's just, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and if you don't think your baby's head is bad or needs to be, you know, tended to or anything, you can always just go to their Instagram. They have an awesome Instagram. It's just @BabyBegin, and they have lots of, you know, fun little tips and on their stories and other little things. And we're going to kind of incorporate some of the tips that she shared here today with us on her social media as well. So check it out. You know, you might pick up something that you didn't know before, or might, you know, bring attention to something that you didn't think about. So I just want to say thank you so much, Jennifer. You really helped Rio a lot. I'm sorry that Rio's not in this video. She's not feeling good today. She's in this house, but her little belly's not feeling good, so she's not. So thank you, Everett, for holding it down for the baby models. So once again, all the information will be down below, and I hope this helps a little bit. I know it was a different video than I normally post, but I will see you guys in the next one.